break it down, give you the scoop. Hold on tight, this ain't no ordinary loot. UFC's the battleground where warriors collide. DieHard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna dig deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. DieHard MMA, we're in it for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Happy Friday, degenerates, and welcome back to the Undefeated Post-Weigh-In Show. Woo! Your Friday is not complete without that intro music, baby. I know we had to take a week off last week from it. I know you guys love hearing it. Couldn't leave you hanging this week. Not 2 weeks in a row. You gotta have the jams to kick off your Friday morning. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Undefeated Post-Weigh-In Show. I'm your host, as always, your boy Clint. This is the home of fight. Get subscribed if you haven't already. We're doing some awesome shit here. But if it's your first time watching this show, the first thing that you need to know is that it is undefeated. Never a bad read, never a bad bet. Not one single one on this show here today. What I do, I take all the analysis from the Monday show. We chop it up with all the boys in the DMs. We watch the weigh-ins. We do some extra research. We listen to interviews. And then we come back on Friday. We put it all together. We pile all the ingredients in our little cauldron. We stir it around. And then what we get are winning bets at the end of it. That is the whole point of this show. So I'm going to break down the weigh-ins, the face-offs. I'm going to make sure you have everything that you need to know so that you can get out there and make some profitable bets this week. Do me a favor, hit the like button. We have got a lot to talk about today, and it's been long overdue, you guys. We've been talking about it for a minute, and especially with the kind of weigh-ins that we had today, we are going to christen a brand new tinfoil hat, and apparently I need to put tinfoil on the shopping list. This is not going to be the best tinfoil hat. In fact, it's going to be this week only, because this bad boy is not big enough for me to wrap the head and keep it on. That looks god awful. I'm going to have to buy some, get the wife to add that to the shopping list, apparently. But we got a tinfoil hat specifically for UFC Vegas 95 today. Let's freaking get into it, everybody, because it went off the rails today. First fight of the night. We've got Toita Alencar, 115. She's taking on Stephanie Luciano, also at 115 pounds. Toita, arms up, big smile, looking good, feeling good. Stephanie Luciano, big flex. She's feeling herself on the scales today. She actually looked a little bit like a different person to me. I think she dyed her hair, but she looks more grown up than the last time we saw her. She's, very, very young, evolving. The physique is going to change. So that was impressive for me there. Obviously, when these two face off, we already know, right? It's a rematch. We saw it like 9 months ago. Stephanie Luciano is going to be the taller woman here in this spot. We've got Alencar, who's a slight underdog, plus 130 about right now. And this line has kind of swung forward and swung back over the course of this week. We had a lot, a lot of money coming in on Stephanie Luciano, and that blew this line up. I was tempted on playing Toita Alencar this week, and I actually still might. I'm looking at it. And the money came in on Alencar, driving it back down to where it is right about now. So a big line move forward and then back again. My whole thought on this fight is that Alencar had the first fight won 29-28 and then death gassed in round 3. And she's older. I know the whole 10-year age gap thing. Usually that favors the younger fighter. Luciano obviously has the higher ceiling. But as of today, as of right now, Alencar is the more well-rounded MMA fighter. The grappling obviously is a huge edge, and I think that's the biggest edge in MMA that is the hardest to make up. Now, people may tell me I'm, wrong or have a different opinion of that, but I think you can get some, serviceable striking and then take it to the ground easier than you can have elite striking and learn to keep it standing. Just my opinion. So in this kind of a spot, we've got Luciano coming on a real quick turnaround. I guess she had dengue fever or something like that. A lot of people are talking about that this week. I think that's going to do one major thing, and that's take away the time that she would have had to be in the gym training and improving. So I'm not saying that she's going to be coming into this fight compromised or anything like that, coming back from a situation where she had some sort of illness. It could be lingering. It could have effects. Her cardio may not be all the way back. We don't know. I can't speculate on that. It's possible. But the biggest thing for me is this is a quick turnaround. Her last fight was this exact same opponent. And when you need to patch up a hole in your game, such as takedown defense or get up game, she's been sick instead of being in the gym that entire time. So that's a huge chunk of training time that I feel she's missing. It's dog or pass for me, guys. I think that Talita Alencar is probably the right side here. I think it's probably more likely to go to a decision just because if she goes balls to the wall like last time, she learns she's not finishing this girl. Maybe she comes up with a new angle. Maybe she's got a new submission where she can hit something. She saw a weakness that she didn't take advantage of the last time. Sub is always going to be on the table with a girl with this kind of grappling upside, but I do think she just can survive round 3 and not get 10-8'd this time, leave a little bit of extra gas in the tank and win a decision here. So it's dog or pass on the first fight of the night here for me. Has been all week. I probably should have jumped when she got up in that plus 150 range. But now she's down to plus 130 and I'm still looking at it. So maybe a play on her this week. Next up, Jarno Aaron's Yousef Zalal, 145.5 for both men here. Jarno Ellens actually looked really good, jogged up to the scales, no problem for him there. Yousef Zalal, comfortable, relaxed. My boy is glowing up on the scales today. Not only am I a fan of his, but I love his attitude. I love the way he composes himself. He's always smiling. He's always trying to have a good time. Very respectful, but intense face-off between these two. Aaron's obviously got the height advantage here. One thing I noticed in this spot is Aaron's is a lot skinnier than I pictured him being in my head. You get these tall, lanky, skinny guys, Jalen Turner types, right? They're not necessarily muscle-bound. They're skinny. They got long, tall, skinny legs. And frankly, guys, I think that's a weakness in the grappling. When you've got a guy like Zalal who's already got a grappling advantage, he can get in on the hips, he can get in on the legs. Yeah, you can pogo stick. You can use that, that 3-point takedown defense where you can touch the floor and try and stay up. But some of these guys just keel over. And there's going to be a massive disparity between these two grappling. And then the striking, I believe, is going to be competitive with Zalal having a speed advantage. So I think I've already said it this week. He's my anchor play. Zalal in everything. I don't see how he loses this fight, frankly. And on top of that, I love his attitude. He's been talking about in interviews that he's coming back for the kill this time. This is not the Zalal that we saw the first run in the UFC. This Zalal is hungry. This Zalal is mean. This Zalal is nasty. He's not going to leave it in the hands of the judges, and that's his attitude coming into these fights. And I think that's going to serve him well. We saw in his last fight that he was able to get a finish over a highly talented fan favorite. And if he's coming with that type of intensity in every single fight, he's probably going to win a lot more exchanges. Even if he doesn't get the finish, he's going to look more impressive on his way to, a decision that's going to help him out when he hits the judges' scorecards. Even if it is a close fight, he'll be able to win those moments and edge things his way. Zalal is the anchor. I have him parlayed to absolutely everything. Is the money line a slight bit wide? Maybe, but maybe not. You know what I mean? It's not even, I'm not even convinced that he shouldn't be a minus 400 favorite in this spot because I don't see a single place where Aaron's is better than Zalal. I expect Zalal to win. He probably gets a late finish. I would be thinking a round 2, round 3 submission in this kind of a spot, but we will see how that plays out. I mean, I have plenty of money invested on Zalal money line, so if he wins a decision, I will be more than happy. People are still confused about the anchor setup. Guys, it's 2-leg parlays. Every single other bet that I like on the card, I have tied to Zalal. That brings that parlay price tag down for me. And so I'm basically using Zalal as a free square. That's the idea behind it. As long as Zalal wins, all my other bets win at a much better price tag than they would otherwise be listed at. And people get confused and think I, either beat the number or I'm posting numbers that aren't accurate, stuff like that. It's because it's parlayed, guys. That's the whole thing. It's parlayed. Everything is tied to Zalal, and that's why the numbers are what they are. Joanna Denise takes on Carl Williams in the next fight. 258 for Denise, 243 for Williams. Denise is an intense dude. Look good on the scale, no problem up there. A very, very intense face. Carl Williams, very chill. Gave the one-arm flex, no problems for him. Walked on out of there. Denise is huge, guys. When they face off on this one, I was very surprised. Heavyweights are always the biggest culprits of this. I was very surprised at how big Denise is. It's a very, very large size difference. Carl Williams, a guy that probably could cut himself down to 205 if he really wanted to. Denise, not so much. I have been looking at this fight all week and just being like, man, I do not trust Carl Williams at minus 200. And as we say that, a little bit of money is starting to come in on Janata Denise in this. And I kind of like it, guys. I will be honest with you. Somebody commented on my Monday show. We had a bit of a crazy week this week, and I do apologize. There was no total takedown this week. We had a family emergency. My wife's grandpa's in the hospital now. So we were kind of dealing with some stuff. That's why we didn't get that extra show out there for you. But I completely spaced on a Link Memorial Dog of the Week this week. And I'm just going off of the tinfoil cap. I'm going off the hairs on the back of my neck. And it's Janata Denise this week, guys. I'm going to go ahead and lock a bet in on Janata Denise myself today. I totally get it. I totally understand it. Carl Williams has such a grappling advantage here, but he is so much smaller and he's so reliant on his cardio and he gets hit in every single fight. And if you're getting tagged and hurt by Justin Tafa, this Denise guy might knock your head into the third row. On top of that, this guy can't keep anybody down. Williams lets everybody back up, and then he's exhausted by the end of the fight because he has to keep working the whole time. And even if he does keep you down for the majority of the round, Denise is the type of guy that really only takes one shot when they're on the feet. When round 2 or round 3 starts and they're back up on the feet, he can catch you coming in, and he's got crazy, stupid power. I really think this is a spot that the UFC is hoping to kind of excommunicate one of these grindy, weak wrestler types off of their books, because Denise is a KO artist and that's what they like and that's what they're pushing. I don't know that it's the smartest bet that I've ever made. This is a tough week for me here. I didn't pick a dog of the week on Monday, so I've got to have one for you guys. We're going to go with Janata Denise. It's not ideal, but I do think he's probably got the biggest one-hitter-quitter potential on the entire card. So let's run with that. Piani Kianzad takes on Karol Hosa. We've got 135.5 for Kianzad, 136 for Karol Hosa. No issues for either women. They actually both look really good. Karol Hosa was the first one on the scales today when they face off. Hosa is actually bigger and thicker. So not only is she taller, but she's got the bigger frame as well. This is one of my favorite parlays as far as my anchor stuff goes, guys. I've got Zalal and Karol Hosa. That's about minus 120 right now based on the numbers that are widely available. If you're looking to parlay that one or tail that one, I actually really like Karol Hosa in this spot. She's going to have more volume. We've seen Piani Kianzad really struggle with the leg kicks. It's going to be a problem for her in this fight. And then if they are grappling, if Hosa finally decides to use that BJJ that she's been working her entire career on, I think she taps this girl out. I think she makes it look easy if she just takes it to the ground. Now, Karol Hosa likes to stand on the feet and bang it out. She's young. She's just entering her prime. She switched gyms. Maybe she finally will have a different game plan. Maybe she finally will fight optimally in this spot. I know you can't normally decide that fighters are just going to turn on their heel and go ahead and make massive improvements like that, but this is the kind of spot where I think Karol Hosa might actually be able to do that. Whether it's on the feet, standing, whether it's grappling, whether she fights optimally or not, I think even in a close, greasy fight, Karol probably gets the win. This is the whole point of the anchor. I don't want to lay minus 200 on Karol Hosa, but assuming Zalal wins, minus 120, that's where I want to be on Karol Hosa. That's the way this whole thing works. So that's a two-legger there for my anchor parlays this week. I like Karol Hosa to go ahead and get the win. And I'm probably going to be sprinkling some round 2, round 3 TKO props on her because I think those leg kicks are really going to add up and cause a problem. I might actually, now that I say that, I might just do the round 2, round 3 and not pick the method because, like I mentioned, if she does grapple, we've seen Piani Kianzad can't grapple. She's been submitted a bunch of different times, and I think Hosa is perfectly capable of taking her down down and tapping her out as well. So maybe we just look for like a round 3 prop or something like that instead. Charalampos Gregorio up next, taking on Tshomi Kazama. Both guys came in at 136 pounds. Gregorio needed the box of shame today. He did make weight, not like some other people we're going to talk about in a minute. He is incredibly built. Like, this guy is huge. He's got lots of muscle on that frame. Big, strong flex. Look good up there, even though he had a little bit of a weight scare. Kazama looked stuck out pretty bad. This guy has one of those faces with the high cheekbones where you can tell right away. He's definitely shredded, though, in incredible shape coming into this spot. And they size up really well, guys. In my brain, I thought Gregorio was going to have a decent little size advantage here, but he really doesn't. And the thing that I did not like about this face-off, or maybe like, depending on the way you want to look at it, Gregorio gets in the face of Kazama and screams bloody murder. Like, everybody flinches. All the people that are running the camera crews and stuff like that, like, everybody freaks out except for Kazama. Dude didn't blink. He's got ice in his veins. Gregorio tried. It's like when you like pump fake somebody trying to get a reaction and get a flinch out of them and they don't budge. The last time we talked about this, guys, was Leon Edwards and freaking Bilal Muhammad. Leon came out and he tried to make Bilal look like a bitch. He tried to pump at him, and Bilal stone cold stared him down, didn't budge, had no problem. And what did he do? He went out on Saturday and whooped his ass. Now, I know that's not any type of technical analysis, that just because bro didn't flinch, it doesn't mean he's suddenly going to fight better. But this is a huge step down for Kazama. I don't think Gregorio is UFC level. I see a lot of people saying that they don't think Kazama is UFC level, but I don't think Gregorio is UFC level. So yes, Gregorio is in a better camp. He's in there with a bunch of killers. He trains with a lot of really great guys over at the Serra-Longo fight camp, but that doesn't mean that he's an incredible fighter. I've seen this guy slow down. I've seen this guy gas out. He gets tired in every single one of his fights. And on top of that, he does have power, but his boxing is not like the hands of the last couple opponents Kazama's face. It's big, wild winging punches. It's bite down on the mouthpiece. You can see it's coming a mile away. And when you've got a guy swinging heavies like that at you, it's a lot easier to avoid, roll with, counter, duck under, take down. There's a lot of things that you can do. If you've got a smooth, slick boxer like Garrett Armfield, you're screwed. He gets into boxing range and he can throw a 3, 4, 5 punch combo and you're just never going to see it coming. This guy is going to bite down and swing one big overhand, and as long as you can get out of the way of that thing, you're going to be clean. So I know Kazama's had a bunch of round 1 KO losses, but if he doesn't get KO'd in round 1 against Gregorio, this guy can't put together a full 15-minute fight. I like Kazama this week, guys. The number is getting higher. Plus 210 right now. The money is coming in on Charalampos Gregorio. Is Gregorio KO round 1 the most likely outcome of this fight? Yes. Yes, it is. But they are pricing Gregorio as a guy that really should be having success in the UFC. They're pricing him like a guy who should run away freight train in this spot. And I think Gregorio is much worse than the last 2 people that Tshomi Kazama has faced. So back against the wall, give me the live dog. I do not have a bet on this one, but I'm probably going to add it. In fact, I was flip-flopping back and forth when I was going to add a dog of the week. Kazama was one option and Denise was the other option. Big old sloppy heavyweights, I can't resist. But I almost made Kazama the dog of the week here for this one, guys. Probably small bets on both these guys, hoping to go 1-1, that kind of a situation. I think one of these big dogs comes through. This is the kind of shitty-ass card where these favorites are way overvalued, and some of these dogs are going to bark this week. It's been a really chalky season for MMA in 2024. This is the fight card where shit gets crazy. Chelsea Chandler and Yana Santos, the reason for the tinfoil cap getting started here today. Chelsea Chandler came in at 141 pounds. We talked about it on Monday. She's literally never made 135 pounds. I waited in this spot because I wanted to see the weigh-ins. I wanted to see the face-offs. And I really was hoping that Chandler would get herself down to like 137 or some shit like that. But instead, she blows it wide open. She didn't even bother. She didn't even try. She comes in at 141. This girl's getting cut, guys. This girl's getting sent home. The UFC is getting rid of their 145-pound division, and they're telling everybody, get your ass down to 135 or we're not going to have a spot for you here. She's not very good. She's already given the UFC one of the biggest memes they've ever had in their existence, and she cannot make the weight. She's not even trying to make the weight. And she's got soft body. Like, she's Molly McCann at 160 pounds before she got in shape. Like, this girl does not look like she's taking her athletic professional career seriously whatsoever. Yana Santos is the exact opposite. Yana Santos looks in incredible. She is on every single special juice diet that Thiago ever had. That man is serving her Frosties first thing in the morning. Her abs are jacked. Oh my God, Yana Santos is finally bouncing back from the baby situation. Like, this chick is not a mom rolling in the cage on Saturday. She's a killer stepping in the cage on Saturday. I am betting Yana Santos. I said I was leaning that way earlier in the week. The weight situation, Chelsea Chandler just not really looking forward to this fight in general, her whole attitude, and then the face-offs, guys, and then the face-offs. Yana's massive. I thought Chelsea Chandler was going to have a size advantage because usually she does. She's a big, thick, meaty girl, and she's usually bigger and stronger than everybody. Not only does she not have a size advantage, but Yana's like a whole half head taller than her. She's massive, and she's pissed. She came up and she gave her like the thumbs down when they went face to face, and Chandler booked it off the stage. Like, it's over for this girl. You can just tell by the mental situation here that Yana is in this. Yana wants to win. Yana wants to go on a run. Yana's being a professional. Yana's in fucking shape. Chelsea Chandler is trying to get off the stage as quickly as humanly possible. I'm betting Yana Santos. We're going to parlay her up with Yousef Zalal. She will join the anchors. That's plus 110 as of the numbers that I'm seeing right now. So we'll get a nice little plus money spot here on Yana Santos, which I like better, frankly, than laying a price tag. So again, counting on my guy Yousef Zalal to get things done, and then we'll have a plus money number on Yana Santos going in on Saturday, even with the weight miss. I ain't scared. All right, Chris Gutierrez and Quang Lee. We've got 136 pounds for both guys. Gutierrez looked really relieved on the scales today. I think it was a bit of a tough cut for him. Not anything that we need to be scared of, not anything that we need to be worried about, but he obviously looked like, oh, thank God. Quang Lee coming in here on short notice. Dude was stone cold. Like, I got to give some props to my guy Quang Lee up here. Looked intense on the scales today, making his UFC debut. This was an intense face-off. He's big. He's got a big head. Like, this guy he's in there and ready to go. He's chomping at the bit. Now, again, family emergency situation. I didn't get a chance to look into Quang Lee. From what I understand, he had a rocky amateur career, but he looks okay as a pro fighting lesser competition. I need to go run the tape, guys. I can't, in good faith or good conscience, give you really anything on this fight until I get the chance to do that. And last night was bonkers, so I did not have the opportunity to do so. Obviously, based on the number, you've got Chris Gutierrez, who's a 6-1 favorite. He probably should be winning this fight. You know, if you've got a guy who is going to make his Dana White's Contender Series debut, and then suddenly gets a bump up onto the UFC main card instead of fighting a Dana White's Contender Series guy against a contender level opponent, like, that's a tough ask. That's a really tough ask. There are very few people in the world who are going to be able to take that and then go ahead and shine and win their fights in that situation. I just don't really see it happening. So I'm expecting Gutierrez. Lean without any type of knowledge or anything like that. Kind of feel like violence might be in play here, because usually somebody like this has to go balls to the wall, try and get a first round finish. And if you don't, too bad. Like, you tried, good luck. Now you're signed by the UFC, do better next time. And then they usually end up getting whacked by the person that actually had the full training camp. Plus those leg kicks of Gutierrez. If you're not prepped and ready to handle those things, how many leg kick TKOs have we seen from this guy? I could see Quang Lee not quite being ready or prepared to check a bunch of leg kicks and be sitting down on his butt by the end of round 2. So I'll say Gutierrez wins the fight, but again, put a massive pin in that because I don't have any information on the opponent. Danny Barlo takes on Nikolai Vernikov. We got 171 and a quarter for Danny Barlo. They are getting picky today, man. Nikolai Vernikov came in at 170 and a half. Danny Barlo did use the box of shame. He actually looked relaxed. He looked okay up there. And again, the only guy on the entire card that had a quarter of a pound. Whoever was running the scale today was like, fuck you, Danny Barlo. Like, they did not want this guy making weight. How many times have we seen they're just like, no, it's fine. And they're like, slide it over. And they're like 176. Like, they just call whatever weight they want all the time, but not today. Not this guy. Danny Barlo missed weight by a quarter pound and is going to get fined in this spot. Vernikov looked like a brick shit house up there, guys. Physically a beast. This guy's got all kinds of muscle on him. He looks like he belongs here in the UFC. And honestly, if you saw his fight with his Dana White's Contender Series fight, he looks like he might have a skill set that's comparable to some of these lower level end UFC guys. Barlo did walk a bit slow on his way up to the face-offs. I'm not sure if that was any indication of like his tough weight cut and still having not recovered or rehydrated well, or if he was just trying to cultivate a mystique for himself on the way up there to see his opponent, but he wasn't moving the speed I would like to see. These two guys size up really, really well. And Vernikov, like I said, this is not some scrub. Like he showed out well enough on Dana White's Contender Series. He fought Michael Morales, who looks like he is on a freight train to the top end of his division. That is not a bad loss to have on your record. And Danny Barlo is still too green for us to have any idea if that's where he's headed. Yes, he's got that left hand, and that's what I'm kind of banking on. But I'm a little nervous seeing these guys size up the way that they do. I don't know enough about Danny Barlo and his grappling defense. Nikolai Vernikov could have a big wrestling advantage in this spot. We could be in for a grinding, boring ass wrestling match, and the dog could be very, very live here. I did parlay Danny. He is in one of my anchors here, Yousef Zalal and Danny Barlo, and that came out to like minus 175, I want to say. So I did. It was a little cheaper earlier in the week when I made the bet. I think minus 156 is what I actually got on it. It's only to win 1 unit. I didn't go 3 units to win 2 or something like that. I did 1.5 units to win 1 essentially. So I've got 1 unit bet on Danny Barlo. It's a small 1 unit bet on Danny Barlo. You've got plus 285 now on Vernikov because that Barlo price tag has just continued to skyrocket here. I am nervous about this one. This is the one that when I made this bet, I kind of looked at it and was like, am I really sold on this guy that only has the left hand? And we really haven't seen much deeper in the UFC run. What I might do is put a little bit of a hedge on Nikolai Vernikov at 8-1 to win by decision. I kind of think that's his best path to victory in this spot, is getting into a grind, winning a greasy split, grappling, forcing this guy to wrestle and defend takedowns that he's not used to, that kind of thing. So if Vernikov is going to be live, I think it's going to be a grappling-based decision win, and that's an easy way to hedge there in that kind of a spot. But again, I'm low confidence on this one for a guy that's a minus 300 favorite. Co-main event, guys, you've got Damon Jackson and Chepe Mariscal. 146 for Damon Jackson, 149.5 for Chepe. Chepe blew weight. Chepe missed weight by a big amount, man. Damon Jackson, he looked rough on the scales, but I tell you, this guy's every single time my guy Damon Jackson weighs in, he looks like death. He looks like he's got scoliosis because he's flexing off to the side up there, like his body's all contorted on the scales every time, but he fights fine. He gets in the cage and he looks like the same guy every single time. It's never a problem. So we just got to kind of get used to the fact that Damon Jackson looks like ass on the scales at weigh-ins. Chepe Mariscal, on the other hand, this man was dragging. Like, he was having a tough time even getting up to the scale. He kind of motioned for the box and they were like, no, dude, because they knew he was going to miss by damn near 5 pounds. His mouth was hanging open. He was wobbling on the scales. He had that 1,000-yard stare where like nothing in front of him was even computing. This guy had a tough weight cut. He blew it. He looks awful. I'm worried that something might be wrong with him. I had this guy on Twitter that's saying he like knows him and he's like buddies with him and he was faking or something. That's such bullshit. Like, if you guys have known anything about Chepe, if we've seen anything from Chepe in his time in the UFC, it's that this guy is a gamer. It's that this guy is a showman. He will come out there and he will rock sunglasses and he'll be flexing and he'll feel himself. And he's ashamed today. He's struggling today. He's down. He's not a guy that's an actor. He wouldn't come out that way. I can't see it that Chepe would come out and act this type of way to get a 4-pound advantage when he's on a UFC run. And my guy, Andrew, in the chat, I was just going to mention you, my friend. So we do have confirmed big guy action here in this spot. The big guy for Superbook Sports, who's been on a notably rough run, by the way. We will go ahead and get that out of the way. He bet Damon Jackson at plus 200 apparently earlier in the week. So he may have known something. And this is the type of thing with sports betting, right? Especially with, you see it in like football and stuff like that. Before news breaks, before the masses find shit out, you see the line move a little bit. Because the people who have the information, they get down on their action before everybody else knows about it. I gotta feel like maybe the big guy caught word that Chepe was having a tough cut, that he was having a rough weight camp, or a rough training camp, something like that, and probably jumped in a little bit early on this kind of a thing. You never know, though. You never know. Obviously, I don't know the guy. I can't text him and ask him, but you got to wonder if that's the kind of situation where info got leaked a little bit early in this type of spot. So, guys, I've got a weird situation going on for this fight. I liked Chepe coming into this week. Obviously, the price tag was a little bit bad, but I feel like he's probably going to end up winning. I don't like the durability of Damon Jackson. I feel like that's been chipped away at his entire UFC career, and it's finally starting to crack. His chin is going. Even though Chepe is not the biggest one-hitter-quitter power puncher over the course of a 15-minute fight, he will bang it out with you, and Damon Jackson is known to get suckered into some of these brawls, and when that happens, I feel like Chepe can clip him, right? So I did go ahead and do a two-legger anchor parlay, Yousef Zalal with Chepe Mariscal. Now, that has gone a little haywire for me because I can't in good conscience let this bet ride with Damon Jackson. It was the biggest bet of my anchors. It was to win 3 units. It was like 3.16 to win 3 or something along those lines. I got to look up the numbers exactly for you guys. But at either way, if both those legs cash, I stand to profit 3 units on that, right? What I have done is I've taken 3 units and I put it on Damon Jackson at plus 180. That's right, the full 3 units. So assuming Yousef Zalal wins, if Chepe knocks him out and I was right the first time, I break even. I gave the 3 units right back, and that's okay. However, seeing what I've seen, busting out the tinfoil cap, seeing this guy limp his way onto the scales, I think something's wrong with Chepe. And if he gets bullied around there in the cage and he doesn't have his usual cardio and maybe he doesn't quite have the sting on his punches that he would normally have, or if he's got an injury, if any of those types of things happen, I've got 3 units on Damon Jackson. So I will lose the original parlay, but 3 units at plus 180 would net me 5.4. So it'd be like a 2-unit profit. So the only way I really lose here is if Zalal loses and then Damon also loses. That would be just nuclear worst case scenario there for me. It'd be like a 6-unit negative hole. Let's not talk about that. That ain't happening. Knock on some wood over here. Because I'm pretty sure that my guy Zalal is going to go ahead and get the win, and then I should be essentially free rolling on this fight. I break even if Chepe wins like I initially thought. If Damon Jackson does take advantage of him and whatever he's got going on for him, it'll be a small win for me, but I'm okay with just kind of hands-offing this one. I'm okay with backing away and being like, you know what? I was maybe a little bullish. I was maybe a little overconfident. 3 units was probably too much to begin with. I'm just going to go ahead and sit this one out. So small chance for profit, more than likely a chance for me to break even on the whole thing. I'm just going to go ahead and walk away from that one. I hate when fighters look like they've had that bad of a weight cut. And a guy like Chepe, who's just done the damn thing since he got here, missing by like 5 pounds, something's off there. It's just not sitting right to me. Main event time. Marcin Tybura and Sergey Spivac. We've got Tybura 252, Sergey Spivac 238. Classic big old boys here, right? Tybura's a little hairier, but that's about it. Both of them big old flabby boys. Sergey Spivac notably slimmer. I will go ahead and mention that. So I went back and I did the legwork for you guys. Marcin Tybura weighed in for their first fight at 246. So he's coming in about 6 pounds heavier in this spot. Sergey Spivac weighed in at 234. So he is also coming in about 4 pounds heavier than their first fight. But this is where it gets interesting. Sergey Spivac has weighed more for his last 3 or 4 fights. He's been much, much closer up to the like 250 type of area, and he's been working his way back down. He looks notably slimmer. It looks like you can see some abs. You can see some muscle definition. It looks like he's finally taking his life situation very, very seriously. This is tough for me, guys. This is really tough for me. I kind of lean towards Tybura being a live dog earlier in the week, and something has just kind of kept me off it as I've continued to stare at this thing. You know, for years, I've harped on Tybura for being chinny. I've always wanted to be on the other side of him. I felt like he was overrated. And then I kind of learned that he's not overrated. He's just an above average heavyweight. He's not underrated. He's just an above average heavyweight. He's got decent enough cardio. He's a BJJ black belt. He's got decent enough takedown defense. He's got decent enough offensive wrestling. He's an okay striker. He's middle of the road, guys. He's middle of the road. That's what he is, and that's what he's always been. Now, he's 38 years old. He's coming in a little heavier here in this spot. He was able to manage the grappling and the wrestling in the first fight, but when you run that fight back, a lot of those situations came from Sergey Spivac looking for hip tosses. It was him giving up his back and giving up his hips and trying to chuck Tybura across the cage. This was several years ago. This is a very young, very unironed Sergey Spivac that was doing this. Now, he's moved up in weight. He's added some poundage, not necessarily good weight, and that hasn't served him well. Or, you know, in some cases, he's been able to use that weight to get on top of guys that are not very good grapplers and kind of bully them. He's built for speed in this one, guys. You know, you go back to like the the Daniel Cormier and Stipe trilogy. The fight where they really went after it, both guys got skinny. Right? Both guys made weight differently throughout that trilogy. They both came in relatively normal for the first one. They both came in heavy for the second one. And then in the third one, both guys came in really light. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on? It's because they emphasized speed and cardio, and that's where they felt like they were the best. Sergey Spivac is emphasizing speed and cardio coming into this fight, something where he struggled in the first fight. Now, is he going to pass Marcin Tybura? You know, Tybura's a guy that's always been known for dragging fights deep and then being better in those later rounds when his opponent gets tired. That's his whole calling card. So is he going to be able to pass that? I don't know. I think this is going to be a tight fight. I worry that Tybura's chin concerns come back in this spot. You've got Sergey Spivac, who's training at Extreme Couture. He's working with Francis Ngannou, so he's going to be a little bit faster. Maybe his boxing has improved, and speed kills. We talk about that. It's not necessarily one-hitter quitter power, not necessarily a big overhand right, but speed. If he can put boxing combinations together and his footwork is better and he's able to stay in that zone more effectively against a guy like Marcin Tybura, he could clip him. He could put him out on the feet. And with him being a little bit lighter, with him having, hopefully, you would assume, a little bit better cardio, maybe he can grapple a little bit better in this spot. Now, Tybura is a tough guy to take down. I talked about it on the Monday show. Spivac does not win a UFC fight without landing 3 or more takedowns. Every single fight he's been in, except for Alexei Olenek, a fight that is completely one that we can just draw a line through, he's landed 3 or more takedowns in every single winning effort. So it comes down to that for me. Will he be able to take down Marcin Tybura at 38 years old, who now is coming in a decent bit heavier? And that kind of concerns me as well. Why is Tybura coming in 6-8 pounds heavier in this spot? I don't know that that benefits his cardio. I don't know that that benefits his takedown defense. So I went from thinking maybe a little bit dog or pass Tybura to now I'm thinking favorite or pass Sergey Spivac. I'm going to pick Sergey Spivac to win this fight. I am not sure that I want to bet on him or not. This could be a situation where I'm just letting it sail on down the river for no reason. So I try not to flip-flop and then put my money in there. But I think the young guy probably should go ahead and get this one done. And that is a change from me from the Monday show. If I were to do one more anchor parlay with Zalal on Spivac, it would be damn near even money. -101, it looks like, is what you would get on that 2-legger parlay. So very much looking forward to this fight card, guys. It's Dumpster Diver. It is a little bit crazy. It is absolutely not the best card of the year. There's a couple of greasy spots. There's a couple of greasy dogs. I like this card from a betting perspective. We should be able to have some fun this week. I, of course, will post my full card. You can find all my picks and plays in the Home of Fight Discord. There's a free link to join that in the description of this video. I'll be posting those things on X, Twitter, and also on Instagram. So if you guys follow me on there, you'll be able to see the plays I end up with. And first thing tomorrow morning, I'll be posting my full entire card so you can see if you missed anything, that kind of stuff. I do want to shout out real quick. Next week, guys, is a big pay-per-view card. UFC 305, one that I'm very excited for. My guy, Dricus Duplessis, coming back into work here. And I've got something cool going for you guys. We're going to do a contest, and that's going to be using Bet Openly. If you haven't signed up for Bet Openly, guys, this is the final week of the third gauntlet contest that we've ran. It's a bankroll betting challenge with $50. The winners get up to $600 in prizes. I am giving away money like hotcakes over on Bet Openly. And seriously, if you want to sign up and not even have any financial investment, try it out, enter some of these free contests that I'm running, win one of those and get some cash, and then start trying it out from there. It costs you nothing. Get signed up so that you can take part in this contest next week for UFC 305. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. And if you guys do start using it, you're going to love it. You know, that whole thing with DraftKings broke out recently where they're now charging people for winning. There's like a surcharge that comes along with you cashing a ticket. It's hard enough to be a profitable sports bettor these days with the numbers that they're giving us. And now when you do win, they're actually going to tax you on that shit. They're going to charge you extra for the pleasure of winning, even though the margins are bad. Get away from that shit. Bet Openly doesn't do that shit. The numbers are better over there anyway. So come join us, get signed up, come play in some of these free contests. Hell, I did a $50 giveaway contest on Tuesday for baseball. Like, football's starting up, guys. NFL's back. I'm going to do some contests and giveaways for that too. So seriously, I'm just throwing out free money like Oprah over here on Bet Openly. It costs you nothing. Come join us. Come hang out. better numbers, better pizza, Papa John's. Thank you guys for joining me on the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show. I appreciate it. We're going to smash tomorrow. We're absolutely going to smash it. I've got the one spot where I'm a little nervous and I hedged off on, but I think the rest of the spots are solid. Yousef Zalal is going to crush this man. I do think round 2, round 3 finish for my boy. We're going to make some money this week, guys. I can feel it in my bones. The run starts now. The streak starts now. We're making all the money back, and we're going up to finish 2024 strong. Thank you all for being here. Good luck on all your degenerate action. Let's roll.